Ben, a gentle and soft-spoken 25-year-old, might seem like the perfect friend. But beneath his kind exterior lies a peculiar ability that sets him apart. He can freeze time. This gift isn't used for heroics or villainy but for his passion, painting. Ben freezes moments, often involving unsuspecting women, to create nude portraits that fulfill his artistic vision. However, Ben wasn't always like this. Not long ago, he was just an ordinary guy with a promising future. He had a caring girlfriend, Susie, and a simple dream of painting the human form. But things took a dark turn 5 weeks ago. The story flashes back to the moment it all changed. Ben and Susie were arguing, with her calling him a loser. Frustrated, Ben decided to end their relationship. Susie, enraged, lashed out, throwing objects at him. It was then that Ben discovered his time-freezing ability as everything around him slowed down. Heartbroken after their breakup, Ben saw Susie move on quickly with someone new, which deepened his pain. To distract himself, he joined an art class, hoping to focus on his passion. His talent shone immediately. His portraits were lifelike and stunning, impressing even his teacher. Ben's fixation on creating perfect, realistic portraits took a strange turn when he began using his newfound power. This is a story not just about talent but also about how loneliness and loss can drive a person to use their gifts in unexpected and sometimes troubling ways. Nights are the hardest for Ben. Since his breakup with Susie, he can't seem to escape the memories of her. Every time he closes his eyes, her face appears, haunting him. As the days go by, Ben becomes an insomniac, unable to sleep even for an hour. The lack of rest and constant regret over losing Susie start to break him. Overwhelmed, Ben finally calls Susie, apologizing for the mistakes he made and pleading for a second chance. He promises to do better and fix their relationship. But Susie is firm in her decision and refuses to come back, hanging up on him. This rejection pushes Ben deeper into despair. Ben tries everything to distract himself. He reads books, watches movies, and even goes on trips to new cities, hoping to escape the memories. But when night falls, his insomnia returns, making it impossible to focus on anything. Desperate for relief, Ben starts wandering at night, roaming aimlessly to tire himself out. On one of these nighttime walks, he finds himself at a local supermarket, where a job posting catches his eye, a vacancy for a night shift worker. Seeing this as an opportunity to keep himself occupied and earn some money, Ben applies for the job. The next day, he meets the manager, Jenkins, for an interview. To his relief, he gets the job. For Ben, this isn't just about work. It's a chance to find some structure amidst the chaos in his life and maybe a way to cope with the sleepless nights and the heartbreak that refuses to leave him. For the first time in a while, Ben feels a spark of happiness. He has a gut feeling that this new job might bring a change to his life. As he settles into his night shift at the supermarket, Ben starts to notice how his coworkers handle the long, quiet hours. The cashier, Sharon Pont, has an interesting strategy to make time pass. She hides the clock with random objects, convinced that not looking at it will speed things up. Then there's Barry Brickman, a prankster who rarely takes work seriously. With his partner in crime, Matt Stevens, Barry often plays tricks on female customers by slipping adult toys into their bags. Some are confused when they discover the items, while others surprisingly decide to keep them. Meanwhile, their boss, Jenkins, doesn't seem concerned about time at all. He spends hours boasting about his success and wealth. Among all the employees, Ben's approach to passing time is the most unusual. Deep in his sadness and unable to fully connect with reality, he turns to his secret ability, freezing time. With everything around him paused, Ben doesn't do anything reckless or inappropriate. Instead, he uses these moments to focus on his true passion, art. Ben freezes time to create lifelike portraits, honing his artistic skills with every stroke of the brush. Though his methods are unconventional, Ben's newfound focus on art offers a glimmer of hope in his otherwise lonely world. Once he finishes a portrait, he carefully restores everything to its original state and resumes time. It's not a lifestyle Ben feels proud of, but it helps ease the pain of his heartbreak. Slowly, he starts moving on from Susie and finding a fragile sense of peace. Outside of work, Ben often spends time with his best friend, Sean, who's been by his side since childhood. Sean is the polar opposite of Ben. Where Ben's interest lies in art, Sean is focused on his pursuit of women, proudly claiming to have visited every strip club in the city. Despite their differences, their friendship offers Ben some relief from his otherwise isolated life. One night at work, Ben has a surprising interaction with Sharon, the quirky cashier. In the locker room, Ben finds himself drawn to her but can't muster the courage to say anything. Their conversation takes an unexpected turn when Sharon casually takes a bite from Ben's sandwich. Ben is stunned, especially when a small piece of pickle sticks to her cheek. As she awkwardly tries to brush it off, Ben can't help but feel a mix of amusement and admiration. This simple, lighthearted moment sparks something in Ben, a reminder that connection and spontaneity might still have a place in his life, even as he navigates his struggles and unique way of coping. Seeing Sharon struggle to wipe the pickle from her cheek, Ben steps in and gently removes it for her. The moment feels straight out of a romantic movie, filled with an awkward but sweet tension. As Sharon smiles and heads toward the door, Ben finds himself wanting to freeze time and stay in that moment forever. But before he can act, she's already gone. Ben goes back to work, still replaying the encounter in his mind, when Matt suddenly appears from one of the aisles. With a sly grin, Matt reveals he's taking Sharon to the movies. The news hits Ben like a punch to the gut. He feels his bad luck with love following him yet again. This takes Ben back to his school days and his first crush. She was the smartest girl in class, admired by everyone. One day, she injured her arm and had to wear a heavy cast. To cheer her up, classmates began writing kind and encouraging messages on it. Ben wanted to write something too, but his nerves got the better of him. He couldn't even bring himself to approach her. A few days later, the cast was removed. While everyone was happy to see her healed, things took an unfortunate turn when they noticed her arm had grown some hair during recovery. The teasing started, and soon, the admiration she once received was replaced by ridicule. One day, unable to watch her cry, Ben found the courage to console her. Taking her aside, he promised to stand by her no matter what. This act of kindness brought them closer, and they soon became good friends, then more. One day, she surprised Ben by asking if he wanted to kiss her. Without hesitation, Ben said yes, and they agreed to meet at their favorite spot that weekend. When the weekend came, he arrived early and waited eagerly, but she never showed up. Heartbroken, Ben later found out that her family had moved to another city without warning. It was the first time he felt truly helpless and sad, a feeling that stayed with him for years. In the present, Ben's boss, Jenkins, announces that the supermarket staff will play a friendly football match against his friends. None of the employees are thrilled about it, but they reluctantly agree. The game is a disaster. Jenkins's team is hopelessly outmatched, and the opposing side scores goal after goal, leading the scoreboard at a humiliating 26-0. The supermarket team's lack of skill and coordination is painfully clear. Frustrated and exhausted, Ben decides he's had enough. He uses his time-freezing ability and slips away to the locker room to take a break. While taking a break in the locker room during the chaotic football match, Ben freezes time to escape the humiliation. Suddenly, he sees something shocking. Another person unfreezes himself and runs out. This reveals that Ben isn't the only one with the power to stop time. Shaken but intrigued, Ben eventually snaps his fingers, returning time to normal. The game starts again, and in a moment of panic, Matt kicks the ball so poorly that it hits Jenkins square in the face. The injured boss is rushed to the hospital, leaving the rest of the team to head home. Ben and Sharon, however, find themselves alone. They stop at a nearby diner, where they spend time getting to know each other better. To Ben's surprise, Sharon reveals she's actually single. Matt was just joking about dating her. As they talk, Sharon shares her dreams and asks Ben about his. She mentions her fascination with painters, imagining they can see the world's true beauty, even when it's not meant to be seen. The chemistry between them grows stronger during their conversation. After their impromptu date, Ben walks Sharon home. However, when the moment comes for their first kiss, Ben awkwardly kisses her cheek instead of her lips, distracted by thoughts of the earlier pickle incident. The next day, Jenkins, now sporting bandages and a swollen face, announces he's hosting a party for his birthday. Sharon asks Ben to be her date, and he eagerly agrees. Later, Jenkins calls the staff to his office to assign each of them tasks for the party preparations. Ben is given the awkward task of hiring a stripper for Jenkins' birthday party. Having no idea where to start, he turns to his best friend, Sean, for help. Sean, excited by the idea, agrees in exchange for an invite to the party. Together, they head to a local club where Sean uses his experience to hire a dancer for the event. The next morning, Ben gets a surprising phone call from a man claiming to be an art gallery owner. The caller says he's an admirer of Ben's work and wants to display it in his gallery. Overjoyed, Ben feels his art is finally being recognized. Unfortunately, it's all a cruel prank set up by Barry and Matt. That evening, Ben gets ready for the party and picks up Sharon. When she opens the door, Ben excitedly tells her about the supposed art gallery interest, still unaware of the prank. Sharon congratulates him wholeheartedly, and the two head to the party together. The party is already in full swing when they arrive. Sean is striking out with a girl, Matt and Barry are dancing wildly, and Jenkins is busy playing DJ. The mood changes when Ben spots his ex-girlfriend, Susie, among the guests. To everyone's surprise, it turns out she's now dating Jenkins' brother. As the night progresses, the stripper arrives and steals the spotlight, turning up the heat. Sean quickly hits it off with her, much to his delight. Meanwhile, Ben takes a break and heads to the bathroom, where he unexpectedly runs into Susie. The sight of his ex stirs up old memories, leaving Ben unsure of how to handle the sudden, emotional encounter amidst the chaos of the party. Wasting no time, she insists on rekindling their relationship. Ben, now deeply in love with Sharon, refuses, but Susie doesn't take no for an answer. Suddenly, she kisses him forcefully. Ben quickly pushes her away, but as he turns around, he sees Sharon standing in the doorway, having witnessed everything. He tries to explain, but Sharon, hurt and furious, walks away without listening. Determined to clear things up, Ben goes to Sharon's apartment later that night to explain what really happened. However, Sharon is too angry and upset to listen, accusing him of betrayal. When her anger escalates into insults, Ben, feeling heartbroken, leaves. The fallout sends Ben spiraling back into depression and insomnia. Once again, he feels trapped in his loneliness, finding solace only in the thought of his upcoming meeting with the supposed art gallery that had shown interest in his work. When the day arrives, Ben takes his best sketches to the gallery, but things quickly fall apart. The gallery owner denies making any appointment, and Ben realizes he's been the victim of a cruel prank. Dejected, he prepares to leave. As he's walking out, the gallery owner notices some of Ben's sketches of Sharon and asks to see them. Impressed by the raw emotion and talent in the artwork, he offers Ben a chance to display his work at the gallery for one night. A few days later, Sharon receives an official invitation to Ben's art exhibit. Although she's still angry and hurt, something compels her to attend. Deep down, she knows she wants to understand the story behind the art and possibly give Ben one last chance. When Sharon arrives at the gallery, she is stunned to see that every piece of artwork is about her. It turns out Ben stopped sketching anyone else, dedicating all his time and talent to capturing her. Through his art, it becomes clear that Sharon is not just his muse but the love of his life. As she walks through the gallery, Sharon is moved by the depth of Ben's feelings. When they finally meet, Ben nervously begins to explain what happened the night of the party, trying to clear up the misunderstanding. But Sharon stops him, saying he doesn't need to explain. She realizes now, just from his paintings, how deeply he loves her. Moved by the moment, the two get closer, sharing a romantic kiss in the middle of the gallery, surrounded by Ben's heartfelt work. It's a moment of pure connection, symbolizing their reconciliation and the love that binds them. In the final scene, Ben uses his unique ability to freeze time. But this time, something magical happens. Sharon can move in his frozen world too. Together, they step outside into a snowy night, where millions of snowflakes hang motionless in the air. As they walk hand in hand through the surreal, frozen beauty, they share another tender kiss under the suspended snowflakes, sealing their love in this timeless moment. The movie ends on a happy and magical note, a testament to love, forgiveness, and the beauty of true connection.